Yo, what is good, people? I go by the name of Beezy and welcome back to the channel, man. If you guys have been enjoying the content on the channel, make sure you guys are smashing the like button on the videos, okay? If you guys are not part of the Discord or you're not following me in my socials, make sure you follow me and join up the Discord, okay? The link to all those things are in the description below, okay? Now, with that being said, obviously today we're going to be talking about Relics and 7 stars, okay? Now, I'm not going to go into detail with the actual announcement, man. There's been tons of content creators that have done videos like touching base on the actual announcements themselves, so I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just literally going to share my thoughts in regards to like the addition of obviously Relic coming into the game and you know, looking at obviously 7 stars coming like in the near future, okay? Now I'm going to touch on Relics first because we've had higher star tiers come into the game. You know, I remember when I was playing this game and 4 star was the highest rarity that you can get. You know, obviously then 5 stars got introduced, then 6 stars got introduced. So we've already gone through the process of, you know, what the game is like when a new variation of a star champion gets added into the game, and like, you know, we kind of know how to deal with that. So I feel like touching on that is gonna kind of be a lot less to cover when it comes to that, okay? But Relics is something that we've never had, so obviously it's been thrown up in the air quite a lot in the past. You know, there's been a lot of things indicating that possibly it's going to be coming to MCOC, even though Kabam have kind of shut it down over the years, but obviously here we are. So for me, when it comes to like Relics, like I've played games where, you know, you've had things like relics or gear or whatever the case may be that you can add on to your characters to like get extra abilities, or maybe make certain abilities a bit more potent, or you know, it does something. And depending on how it's introduced to MCOC, kind of depends how it's going to impact the contest, you know. So from what I'm aware, there hasn't really been too much detail given in full effect of like how it's going to be introduced to the game, how we're going to be able to obtain them and whatnot. If that has been released, then, you know, I haven't seen it yet, but from what I have seen, that hasn't kind of been covered yet, okay? So here's the thing about Relics. Personally, it's something I'm excited for because I like things being different. You know, I like the thought that, like, you know, me and my boy or me and Siren are gonna have the same champion, but they can be used differently. You know, for example's sake, like, you know, you might have one for Angela, where, and I'm just using this as an example, okay? You might have a relic for Angela where one of the, you can either go one of 2 ways. Either pick for the relic to make her buffs last longer, or you can make her increase the percentage of the impact of per buff. And what I mean by that is, say for instance, if like she got 1 fury and normally a fury increased her attack by 2%, you know, you have the option for this relic to increase her attack by 4% with regards to that buff, but it also increases the percentage for you know, the armor ups, the regeneration, stuff like that. So you know, because then someone like me who doesn't have Odin might be more towards, yo, I'm gonna get Angela's relic and I'm gonna kind of use it in a way where you know, she gains more buffs quickly, because then that saves me from having to rely on the Odin synergy. But then you might have someone like Siren who has the Odin synergy and she's just like, well, I don't need that option. So in fact, you know, I'm down to like increase the potency of the actual value of the buffs, you know. So like I kind of like that it gives you that different, it kind of separates the contest in a sense where you can then see, especially for a content creator, you know, you can then see videos of, you know, like nodes where you might need champions that can like cause bleed damage or whatnot, and then you might have some champs that have really good bleed damage, but like, you know, their chance to proc a bleed isn't that high, but then they could have a relic that could increase that chance and it kind of makes them viable. Do you know what I mean? Now obviously in a lot of cases, like, you know, the value of something like that is gonna very much be roster dependent. You know, like you might have people that have like all of the champions under the sun, so they don't really care about relics because they got so many different options. But then you might have some people where their accounts are very limited as to what they have. You know, they might only have like 3 or 4 decent bleed champions, and you know, they're not really that great. So something like that would very much help them. You know, they might not have a consistent bleeder or anything like that. So I feel like Relics, as to what they can offer, looks like I'm excited to see how it impacts the contest. The one thing I'm a bit scared about is how it's going to be implemented, man, because like I don't want it to be a thing where it's just a case of like people can buy them, because I'll be really annoyed if that was the case. You know, I really hope that the way they're going to implement Relics is kind of similar to how like it's like an objective. You know, you do something special with that character to obtain the relic for that character. So i.e., you know how we have like arena challenges? If they plan to do something like, I don't know, let's just say you had to use a 4-star Venom for argument's sake, and you had to complete a certain part of the game or take out a certain boss with 4-star Venom, then you obtain Venom's relic. Do you know what I mean? I hope they do it like that, because what that then means is that players that, like, you know, do have a certain level of skill are able to then, as a free-to-play player, obtain relics without it being a case of, you know, putting them out of pocket, you know, like obviously relying to spend on units or whatnot. I feel like, especially for the first, you know, whether it's like, you know, you can incorporate it into like special events, or like, you know, how you got like Grandmaster Gauntlet, if they've got any like special events that come for a period of a month or whatnot, you can have like limited edition relics, or like how you've got limited titles where, like, you know, you have the Summoner Showdown, and then, you know, people that come first or second or third, they get exclusive titles or whatnot. They could do multiple things in that way, but I definitely think the relics need to be rewarded based on gameplay, and not so much from spending. You know, there could be basic relics that you can kind of like buy here and there, but I just think adding it to the contest in regards to like the best way to get them is just units. I don't think that should be the way they do it. But obviously, like I said, from what I've seen, there's nothing set in stone about how they're going to be able to be obtained. Whether that's changed or not within the time I read up on the information and now, it's a different story. But like I said, obviously we'll see what happens in the future. So that's where my mind is with regards to relics. Okay, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, because I know the thing is, with anything new, people are going to be like, oh my god, what are they doing? They're ruining the game, bro, they need to stop this. But I'm quite looking forward to seeing like how much relics impact the game, man, 100%. And you know, like seeing how one individual uses a certain champion with a certain option of the relic, but then how another person utilizes the champion with the other option of the relic, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Or without the relic. So yeah, man, it's gonna be very interesting. Now we're touching on 7 stars. Now, anytime we hear about a new star variation getting added to the game, you know, it's a big hoo-ha. People feel like, oh my god, bro, I've just been wasting my time leveling up 5 stars, bro. I haven't even got a maxed out 6-star. A man's talking about 7 stars already, bro. What's going on? Like, you're gonna have a lot of that, to be honest. But for me, like, I think the number one thing I'm happy about thinking about 7 stars is, like, you know, you always look at the value of your roster. And when I first heard about 7 stars, I'm like, okay, so man need to stop ranking up to 5 stars, okay. But, you know, Kabam have kind of touched on that they don't want 7 stars to be introduced at the cost of impacting the lower star variation champs in your roster, and making it so that, like, you know, 4 stars and 5 stars are completely rendered useless. You know, they still very much want 4 stars and 5 stars to be a part of the game, and don't want it to be a case of, you know, like 7 stars come in and they just dominate everything. I mean, to be fair, like, even at this current point in time, I mean, yeah, I got a few 6 stars, no rank 4s, but I got a few 6-star rank 3s and lower. But I still use my 5 stars for everything I do. I still use my 5-star champions, man. So I'm not necessarily looking at it in a way of like, oh shoot, okay, if 7 stars come to the game, that means 5 stars are going to be rendered useless. Everything that's available in the game right now can be done with a 5 star. So for me, 5 stars are only going to be rendered useless if future content comes out that exclude anything below a 6 star. And I feel like Kabam's learned their lesson from when they tried to do that before, when they made it so that like when you get to a certain part of the quests, you can't use anything lower than a 5 star. You know, I feel like that was frowned upon a lot. You know, we expressed, like us as a community expressed how we felt that it was very unfair to people that were skilled players, that, you know, are really good at the game, but just may not have had the RNG to get certain champions pulled as a 5 star or 6 star. Like myself, I'm not very skilled at the game, but I haven't got a 5 or 6 star Odin, and you know, there's some paths in Act 7 where he's really useful for, and because I don't have him as a 5 or 6 star, I can't bring him to anywhere in the I can't bring him to those parts of the game. So, you know, I'm hoping that they don't kind of go down that route, and they do open it up to obviously be able to use all of your roster in all parts of the game. But yeah, it's going to be interesting. I don't really have much to say about the 7 stars, man. I mean, like, you know, if the game is going to continue, like, we can't just have the same level star champions like for the rest of the entirety of the game's lifespan, because the game will just get boring. You know, like, we need to grind for rank up materials. Once people start getting their star champions at maxed rank, they're gonna have to chase after something new, you know. So so I'm quite excited to see how it impacts the game. Like, you know, and with that being said, obviously all the changes could come in and they could have a really negative impact on the game. And, you know, if that happens, then shoot, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it. But you know, if that doesn't happen, then shoot, man, we're gonna have some new big boy champs to add to our roster. So I'm definitely excited about that. But let me know your thoughts, guys. Let me know what you think about the obviously new edition of the Relics, and obviously the announcement of 7 stars coming to the contest soon. Well, not soon, but in the future. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed. Take care. I'll catch you guys in the comments below, man. Peace.